You will never know what it's like to constantly be lied on, to constantly be bullied, to constantly be attacked.
Behind the dazzling smile, the chart-topping hits, and the iconic fashion moments lies a story that even Nicki Minaj's most devoted fans couldn't have imagined. A story of heartbreak, betrayal, and resilience that shaped the queen of rap into the powerhouse she is today. Nicki Minaj has never been one to shy away from controversy, but this time, the drama unfolded far beyond the public eye. For years, whispers circulated about a relationship that seemed picture-perfect on the surface, but hid shocking truths beneath. Now, the truth has emerged. A tale of love turned sour, of trust shattered by infidelity, and of a woman who refused to let the pain define her. How did Nicki Minaj confront the betrayal that rocked her world? What secrets did this relationship hide? And how did she transform heartbreak into strength, proving once again that she's unstoppable? Stay tuned as we uncover the scandal that shook Nicki Minaj's life to its core and how she turned the pain into her ultimate triumph. This is more than a story of love and loss. It's the shocking truth behind Nicki Minaj's most heartbreaking relationship. Nicki Minaj, born Onika Tanya Mirage in Trinidad and Tobago, was no stranger to hardship. At just 5 years old, she moved to Queens, New York with her family, carrying dreams of a better life. But life in the bustling city wasn't easy. Nicki often found herself surrounded by chaos. Her father struggled with addiction, and her family faced financial instability. These early struggles shaped her into a fighter, determined to rise above her circumstances. Even as a child, Nicki stood out. She used her vivid imagination and love for performing to escape the turmoil at home. By her teenage years, her passion for music and theater became her solace. She attended the prestigious LaGuardia High School of Music and Art, where her talent blossomed. But success wasn't immediate. Nicki juggled odd jobs while pursuing her dream, facing rejection after rejection before finally breaking through with her mixtapes in the late 2000s. As her career took off, Nicki became a household name, a fierce lyricist and a trendsetter who shattered stereotypes. But behind the scenes, she was searching for something more: love, stability, and a sense of belonging. When Nicki entered what many believed to be a promising relationship, it seemed like she had found her balance. The pair often appeared together in public, projecting an image of happiness and support. However, as Nicki's fame soared, cracks in the relationship began to surface. Balancing life as a global superstar and maintaining a personal connection proved challenging. Whispers of infidelity and emotional disconnect began to circulate, but Nicki kept her private life under wraps, focusing instead on her music and the fans who adored her. Still, those closest to her knew the truth. Nicki was battling a storm behind closed doors. The stage was set for a scandal that would shatter her world and leave her questioning everything she thought she knew about love and loyalty. How did it all unfold? The truth would eventually come to light in a way no one expected. As Nicki Minaj's career skyrocketed, her relationship, once thought to be her anchor, began to unravel. The man who once promised her loyalty and love was now the source of whispers that swept through the entertainment industry. Rumors of infidelity started surfacing, but Nicki, always a private person when it came to her personal life, chose to remain silent. The turning point came when Nicki discovered undeniable evidence of betrayal. A series of text messages and late-night calls, once dismissed as harmless, now painted a picture of deceit that was impossible to ignore. Sources close to Nicki revealed that the betrayal wasn't just a one-time lapse in judgment. It was an ongoing affair that had been carefully hidden from her for months. For Nicki, the revelation was devastating. This wasn't just about infidelity, it was about trust, loyalty, and the emotional investment she had poured into the relationship. The betrayal struck at her core, forcing her to confront painful questions. Was she not enough? Had her success intimidated him? Or had their love been a facade all along? Adding fuel to the fire were the constant media speculations. As rumors of the affair hit tabloids, Nicki's heartbreak became public fodder. She found herself hounded by paparazzi and bombarded with invasive questions during interviews. Her fans, known as the Barbs, rallied around her, but even their support couldn't shield her from the emotional toll. Nicki channeled her pain into her music. Lyrics laced with anguish and rage began appearing in her songs, though she never explicitly named the person who hurt her. In interviews, she dropped subtle hints about the heartbreak that was consuming her. "You can give someone your all," she said in one candid moment, "and still find yourself standing alone when it matters the most." But the conflict wasn't just internal, it was external as well. The person at the center of the scandal tried to deny the allegations, painting himself as the victim of media manipulation. He even attempted to discredit Nicki, implying that her demanding career and high-profile lifestyle were the real reasons for their problems. This public back and forth took a toll on Nicki's mental health. Friends close to her described how she withdrew from her usual vibrant self. She canceled appearances, avoided social media, and focused solely on her music. But even in her darkest moments, Nicki refused to let the betrayal define her. The true turning point came when Nicki decided to confront the situation head-on. She didn't need a public statement or a tell-all interview. Her music became her weapon. In a fiery, emotionally charged track, Nicki unleashed her truth. The song, though cryptic, left no doubt in listeners' minds about what had transpired. It was raw, powerful, and unapologetically Nicki. Fans and critics alike praised her for turning her pain into art, but the release of the song also reignited the scandal. Questions swirled. Who was the song about? Was this Nicki's way of seeking revenge? And most importantly, how would the person on the other side of the betrayal respond? Despite the renewed media frenzy, Nicki stood firm. For the first time in months, she seemed at peace, reclaiming her narrative and refusing to let anyone else control her story. "I've learned to let go," she shared in a heartfelt social media post. "Sometimes you have to lose something to find yourself." This was the beginning of a new chapter for Nicki. Though the betrayal had cut deep, it also became the catalyst for her transformation. She had faced the storm, and now she was ready to rise above it. But the fallout from the scandal was far from over. As Nicki began to rebuild, the ripple effects of the betrayal continued to make headlines, forcing her to navigate a new path forward, one that prioritized her peace and her power. The days following the release of Nicki Minaj's explosive track were filled with intense media scrutiny, but they also marked the beginning of a new era for her. The betrayal that had once shaken her to the core was no longer a source of fear or sorrow. It had become her fuel. With the scandal and the public fallout behind her, Nicki realized that the most important lesson she had learned was the power of letting go. For months, the media had speculated, painted her as the villain, and even blamed her for the dissolution of the relationship. But Nicki, ever the master of turning negativity into strength, decided it was time to silence the critics once and for all. Instead of retreating into the shadows, she emerged stronger, sharper, and more focused than ever. Nicki's emotional journey wasn't just about confronting the betrayal, it was about rediscovering herself. She took time to reflect on the toxic dynamics that had allowed the relationship to continue, despite the warning signs. It became clear that her need for love and validation had often led her to ignore the red flags. But now, with clarity, she understood that true love starts with self-respect. Rather than hiding from the pain, Nicki embraced it. She sought therapy, connected with close friends who uplifted her, and re-established boundaries in her personal life. It wasn't an easy process, but it was one she had to undergo to reclaim her happiness. Nicki's resilience became her biggest asset, and it was reflected in her work. In the months that followed, Nicki's music evolved. Her new songs were a reflection of her healing, with lyrics that combined vulnerability and strength. She became more involved in social causes and used her platform to advocate for self-love and empowerment, especially for women who had endured similar betrayals. It was clear that Nicki was no longer the same person who had once been willing to tolerate pain for the sake of love. She had become her own hero. The former partner at the center of the scandal tried to make amends, attempting to reach out through mutual acquaintances, but Nicki had already moved on. She no longer needed closure from someone who had hurt her deeply. Instead, she found it within herself. Nicki's refusal to entertain reconciliation was a testament to how far she had come. In the professional world, Nicki Minaj's star continued to shine brighter. Despite the scandal, her music topped the charts, and her influence remained undeniable. She was no longer just the queen of rap. She was a symbol of resilience and reinvention. Her album, now infused with her personal journey, was critically acclaimed, and fans worldwide rallied behind her in a way they hadn't before. As for her personal life, Nicki remained focused on her career, but she also embraced new opportunities for growth. She began exploring new relationships, this time with a more open heart and a clear understanding of her worth. She understood now that she didn't need someone else to complete her. She was already whole. The aftermath of the scandal also saw Nicki publicly addressing the importance of self-worth and moving on from toxic relationships. In interviews, she spoke candidly about her journey, emphasizing the need for women to prioritize their own well-being and not settle for less than they deserved. By the end of the year, Nicki's transformation was evident to all. She had risen from the ashes of heartbreak, stronger than ever before, and had turned a painful chapter into one of the most empowering periods of her life. In the end, the cheating scandal had been the catalyst for her greatest personal growth, a painful but necessary reminder that sometimes the most devastating events lead to the most profound reinventions. Nicki Minaj had not just survived the scandal. She had emerged victorious. Her narrative was no longer dictated by the mistakes of others. She was the author of her own story, and it was one of resilience, redemption, and undeniable power. The journey of Nicki Minaj through betrayal, heartbreak, and public scrutiny is a testament to the strength that comes from within. What started as a scandal, an affair that shook her trust and exposed painful truths, evolved into a narrative of personal growth and transformation. The aftermath of the cheating scandal was not just about rebuilding a career, but about reclaiming her identity, and most importantly, her self-worth. Through the turmoil, Nicki discovered that the greatest love she could give was to herself. She stopped allowing others' actions to define her value, understanding that true power lies in self-acceptance. Her emotional journey resonated with millions of fans around the world who saw in her a reflection of their own struggles with love, trust, and self-empowerment. Her music, once a reflection of pain, became an anthem of survival. Nicki's ability to turn heartbreak into a vehicle for her own empowerment not only solidified her place as an artist, but also as a voice for those who had felt silenced by their own pasts. With every song, every interview, and every social media post, she was teaching the world that growth doesn't happen in comfort zones. It happens when you face the storm and come out stronger on the other side. The Nicki Minaj we see today is not the same woman who once allowed her life to be overshadowed by the actions of others. She is a survivor, a symbol of strength, and a trailblazer who has rewritten the rules of resilience. In the end, Nicki's story serves as a powerful reminder that we are not defined by the mistakes of others or by the darkest chapters of our lives. Instead, we have the power to shape our own narrative, to rise from the ashes, and to turn our most painful moments into triumphs. Nicki Minaj didn't just survive a scandal, she turned it into a victory for herself and her fans, showing us all that true strength comes from within.